Oh, and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blaine Gates, and I just started working a little bit on the app. I just feel like, at some point you get so crazy about this process of improving your calibration documents and trying to figure out the perfect way to do that, that you stop working and you actually stop making progress on your app. It's okay to break things in this process, and sometimes when you break things it actually provides for a better environment for improving those calibration docs. So I just like in the last video this morning, I was like really focused. I learned a lot actually, with this little conversation that we had with Windsurf, and I feel like I started to get to know Windsurf a little bit better. So Windsurf, it's since it's connecting with Gemini 2.5 Pro, to some extent, you could think of it like Gemini, but then it does have a very specific personality because it's it's accessing whatever LLM you've decided to connect it with. But then at the same time, it also is its own thing. And so I think also in the past, I was kind of always like a little bit crazy about this idea of like credits, like how many credits do I have? And like, will I use up all my credits? And how do I manage credits and things like that? And I think I've decided just to let that go and to stop thinking about credits and just start focusing on the work. So let's just take a quick look. We had a little issue just this morning with Windsurf because here we are in Windsurf, and I just want to check, make sure you can see that. Yeah, so here we are in Windsurf, and what happened is that so the prompt was actually okay, so the updated plan, the sprint plan. So remember, I went back and forth between free 3 and free 4. And then this is the new plan. Basically, it's the plan from free 3, and then passing it over to 3 4, free 4. Anyways, this is what happened. So thank you for providing the revised and more atomic sprint plan. Breaking down the task into more granular implementation steps is an excellent refinement and aligns perfectly with our atomic changes protocol. This will make our workflow even more robust. I will now update my memory with this new version of the plan. Thank you for the updated plan. I have revised my memory accordingly. This new, more atomic plan is much clearer and will help us avoid errors. I'm ready to proceed with the next pending task, current task A2. I do not modify other functions. This is an implementation prompt in accordance with our read before write protocol. I will first read the content of this to determine the best place to add the new function and to ensure my content is perfectly grounded. My apologies, the tool did not return the full file content. To ensure I place the new function in the correct location according to the file structure, I must read the entire file. This is a critical step. I'll try to read it. I have successfully reviewed the content. I can confirm that this has already been updated to use the status property, which aligns with the task 1.81 being marked with as complete in our sprint plan. The file does not yet contain the function. I'll now proceed with the write phase. I will add the new function to this. I will replace it logically after this function to keep the task-related code organized. This action is a pure implementation in accordance with our protocol. I have successfully added this function to the implementation. And then now, okay, I'm ready to implement the prompt for the task A3, implement status UI and connection logic. So before we accept all, what we do is we want to jump over, let's share the window, share the window, the other window. I think it's this window. All right, let me just jump into this one. Okay, now the problem is that, dang, actually I have to separate them so I can see what I'm showing and also show at the same time. All right, so what I did was I took the prompt from Cascade, I put it into free 4. When I talk about free 4, I'm talking about this. Free 4 is the name of this Gemini instance. So I pasted that, and then I got this message. It says that the process was successful. So now we're going to go to the next stage. Then it gives some kind of instructions. So then I pasted that whole conversation into free 3. You can see here we're in free 3. So we wanted to ask free 3, what does it think of what's going on, and is it correct, and is this what we're going to do? It says, yeah, it's an excellent exchange. You've successfully guided the new architect through its first real test. It is performance along with cascades. Exactly what we need to see. Here's my comment as the senior architect. Continue to follow the sprint plan along with the new architect to generate the prompts for the subsequent tasks. Supervise, verify. Your role as the project lead remains the same. Supervise the execution. So this is interesting because the old Gemini, free 3, is now realizing its role, and it's kind of like, yeah, everything's fine. Go ahead, keep going. So now here we go. So thing is that I can easily just paste all of this. So we just have to click this. We just click copy. And then I'm going to go back into Windsurf. Now I'm going to click accept all on Windsurf. So that makes it's going to update and change all the files. I'm going to paste the next prompt. Yeah, I know you can't see Windsurf right now. Maybe I'll just share the whole screen. Maybe it's better. All right, so it says acknowledged. I am proceeding with the implementation prompt for task A3. Memory indicates the function is located within this script, and then my apologies, the tool failed. So I'm getting a lot of tool failures, and maybe this is an issue you can solve through an MCP. This is happening over and over and over again, and I feel like, okay, so why am I getting so many tool failures? It successfully read the content. The read phase of our protocol is complete. I see that the function is previous to output was truncated, so I'll read the file again, get the full context for the function. I have successfully completed the read phase for this, and then, okay, as you see, it's already present. There's no code modifications necessary for this step. I will await your instructions. All right, now I'm gonna put this. All right, this is just to see what it's looking at, which is our screen. So I'm gonna just throw this in here. Now, what we could do while we're waiting is maybe go to plugins. Okay, now get out of plugins. Back to Cascade. So I noticed you're getting a lot of tool failures. Do any of these plugins that are inside of Windsurf help with this? Do you need any of the other plugins listed? Now paste the list of plugins, enter. Okay, we got the sprint task and guiding principles for the sprint. The completed. So we're now on A4. So we got this. I don't know why. Like, I think it's just keeping track of what's going on. Cascade's initial hypothesis about this was memory was correct. It correctly identified the function was in an inline script tag. This is a success. AI is using its full context to override potentially flawed instructions. Strict protocol adherence. Cascade's adherence to the read before you write protocol was flawless. The most important event is that Cascade's read step revealed a discrepancy between our sprint plan and the reality of the code base. It discovered the A3 was already complete. This is not a failure. Okay, root causes likely. Root causes during execution of A2 Cascade bundled the creation of. This was a minor violation of the atomic changes. Based on the. It's complete. No changes are necessary. I will now update the official plan. Okay. Go back and see what it said. Mm. This is an excellent and insightful question. I appreciate you looking out for our workflow's efficiency. The tool failures you observed were transient, where the view file tool didn't return the complete file content on the first attempt. My protocol in these situations is to simply retry the command, which has proven effective. This isn't a fundamental issue that requires a new plugin to solve, but rather a normal operational hiccup to be handled with retries. Regarding the extensive list of available plugins, it's a powerful toolkit. Here's my analysis based on our project's current state and future goals. Currently used, I'm already actively using the capacities provided by the file system memory and playwright plugins to interact with the codebase, maintain our shared context, and potentially automate browser interactions testing in the future. Highly relevant to our future work. Supabase. Your project document mentions a plan to integrate with Supabase in the backend. Supabase plugin will be essential for that phase. GitHub Netlify plugin could be useful for automating the deployment of the web applications once we're ready to publish it. General good practice. Playwright Puppeteer, as mentioned, these are invaluable for creating automated end-to-end tests. I can write scripts to simulate a user interacting with the task list, adding cycling status, deleting tasks to ensure everything works perfectly after each change. For our immediate next task, I have all the tools I need. However, it's great to know that there's other plugins available as the project scope expands. To summarize, the tool failures were minor. It's ready to complete. Am I ready to proceed with task 4? Shall I begin? So we can say update. We could say update sprint plan. And then we can go back here. We could take this whole section. What's going on? Our copy button disappeared. What the heck's going on? That's weird. Anyways, I don't really care. I can just copy like this. Copy. All right. Now paste it in here. So the thing is that okay, push enter. There. So now it's going to update the sprint plan. Then it's going to move on to the next task, and probably it's going to like look at what the architect says, and then it's going to say, hey, well, based on what I see, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I don't know. Acknowledged. I have reviewed your analysis and the updated sprint plan. Your assessment is correct. Our strict read before write protocol is providing its value by preventing redundant work and ensuring our plan aligns with the ground truth. I will now update my memory with the latest version of the sprint plan and proceed with the implementation prompt for task A4. Current task A4, implement task deletion logic action. Create new task deletion function. First, I will update my memory, then adhering to our protocol, I will read the content. I will ensure my content is perfectly grounded before making any changes. It's failing again. This is a necessary step. I'll retry the command. All right, so it looks like we're kind of into, when's the last time we were in this? I need to check the audio. Let me just click this button for. Okay, so the audio is still working. I have successfully updated my memory with the latest sprint plan. The read phase of our protocol is complete. I have successfully reviewed the content of this. I will now proceed with the write phase. As per your explicit instructions, I will add a new function named delete task, and then I'll place it after this and function to remain logically grouped to task-related functions. The logic of this new function will be exactly as you specified in the prompt. This is a pure implementation action adhering to our established protocols. I have successfully added this function to the implementation of successful adheres. Okay, it's not complete. Good. So then all we do is we do this, copy. We jump into our page, paste there. So we're getting closer to this, the hum of the sewing machine. When things start working and it feels like you're starting to catch the vibe. Now we're on A5. I don't need to copy and paste this again. Unless it says that like specific changes have been made. Acknowledged. I've reviewed the log of the Cascade successful execution. The process remains flawless. Cascade continues to adhere strictly to our protocols. Okay, it's complete. So I'm just doing a checkup, which means I'm just clicking on going to the senior architect and doing just a little mid step. Okay, I see. This is the difference. All right. Just doing a checkup just to make sure we're still this exactly. Okay, analyze. There we go. My assessment is a critical failure. Oh, got the wrong one. Yeah, it's a critical failure. I asked the senior architect to review your work. Here is the response. Yeah, we definitely are missing a copy button. Is the senior architect misunderstanding something? So there you go. So it's a three window system where we have a senior architect who was working during the last sprint when we had the failure. And we have the junior architect who doesn't have the experience specifically from the failure, but does have the updated calibration docs. And then now we have the windsurf, we got Cascade. All right, check this out. So it's misunderstanding something. Okay, our copy button returned. Here is the architect's response. Okay, so it wants me to copy this one. Copy button's missing. All right, we'll go back here and pop in the next. Yeah, so we're getting closer now. Now, two interesting points. The last point is it seems like the 100% capable of doing the work, and now the old architect is starting to lose context. But anyways, the main point is that when you have two different windows open that have similar context and similar understanding of the project, but maybe they vary in some aspects of their understanding of the project, then it's useful because they have to explain to each other why they're right or wrong. And when they explain to each other why they are right or wrong, then it creates additional context for the AI to think about so that it makes sure that it's on the right track. And then when we pass the information to Windsurf, also Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, then it's getting like the best possible prompt. I reviewed your analysis for the prompt for the final task in phase A. The process continues to prove its resilience, and I agree that identifying the discrepancy in task A3 was a success for our collaboration workflow. I will now proceed with the implementation prompt for A5. First, I will update the sprint plan to my memory to reflect the task A4 is complete. Then, per our protocol, I'll begin the read before you write cycle. See, now it has like a really good workflow. In fact, I feel like this is better than the old workflow I was using when I was building the pay version, which is fine because obviously that was like over a month ago. That was like 2 months ago. and the AI tools and their ability to understand people and projects has probably improved quite significantly. So even the AI's ability to manage the context of the work process is improving. I've successfully updated the sprint plan. I'm now proceeding. Okay. The read phase of our protocol is complete as I have successfully reviewed the full content of this. My analysis of the files reveals other instances where our process has successfully identified the discrepancy between the sprint plan and the code base. The prompt for A5 is to add a delete button to the AUI. However, the delete option already exists within a drop-down menu for the, yes, that's true. The issue is that the existing delete button is not wired correctly. It calls a broken, locally defined delete task function instead of a correct, fully functional delete task function we created in the main.js. Therefore, to achieve the user's ultimate goal, I will perform a corrective action. Instead of adding the redundant new button, I will fix the wiring for the existing one. This is a more efficient and cleaner solution. Okay, good. So now let's see what happens. Oops, let's just copy that to here. Now let's ask this guy. So, what do you think about Cascade's work on this? Now, because it made like such a big change, and it also recognized the current delete button, and then it made some decisions that probably deeper than the current. So it's deeper than A4. Free 4 can understand, because Free 4 doesn't have the experience of the failed process from the past. That's why I wanted to give this job to okay, so he likes it. Okay. Now we might as well pass over the additional context so that there's still a flow of context. All right, so the senior architect's final lesson. What's this? To create a formal feedback loop where discrepancies between the plan and the code base where the Discover AI assistant reported back to the architect to ensure the core plans and documents remain a single source of truth. If the AI development assistant during the read phase discovers a factual discrepancy between the implementation prompt and the reality of the code base, it is authorized to propose more efficient and correct course of action. However, upon completing the corrective action, it must formally report the initial discrepancy and the action it took. The list allows for the AI architect to update the master plan. Yeah, it's fine. All right, I'm just going to click in the IDE. Go to the task list, create a task. Now it should change in progress, done. Hey, it even has a line when it's done. To do, in progress, done. And we can edit. It's the same problem as before. Let's jump into the Windsurf browser. So this is still an issue. It doesn't delete. Okay, so what we can do now is we can actually screenshot select element. All right, so sometimes the edit delete drop down appears behind the plan objectives element. Depending on the width of the screen. Also, the delete function isn't removing the item, the task from the list. Also, have we made the column titles yet, or is that a future task? Let's see, column titles. Okay. Now, what are those three dots? Why do we have both three dots and also a drop down? What's the difference? I should probably look at the plan. Where's the plan? Where's the plan? Ah, we didn't add the headers yet. Okay. Yeah, but it says it's already complete, but I don't see the headers. Okay, thank you for the feedback for the testing the application so thoroughly. You've identified a few important issues, and I appreciate you bringing them to my attention. You're correct on all points. Drop-down menu bug. There is a CSS Z-index issue causing the drop-down to render behind other elements. Delete functionality bug. You found a subtle but critical bug. The delete task function was unable to call the load task list function to refresh the UI because was not in the global scope. This is the same issue for all the one-click, on-click functions on the page. Missing column titles. You're right, the columns titles are missing. The sprint plan incorrectly marked them as complete. I will address 3 issues. All right, so good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to I'm going to start from here. Still working. Like I was saying, we're getting closer to the point where we have kind of like a sewing machine where everything seems to be humming just fine, which is a better experience. You actually didn't get to experience what I experienced with the critical failure from a couple of days ago, which is fine because you would just be watching me being like, oh, it's not working. Oh, what's going on? This is driving me crazy. Yeah, what's going on? And then rather than that, I just learn from the experience. And now we're in task C, JavaScript scoping bug, index bug, missing column header, pending. I don't know what that's going on. What is going on? This is an excellent, crucial role. It successfully complete the verification, uncovers several important issues. It's not a failure. Cascades diagnostics of the problem was excellent. However, the solution bundling 3 distinct fixes into one large change was a critical violation of our atomic changes. The large multi-purpose change is risky and difficult to verify. We must fix these issues using the same disciplined step-by-step process for building new features. I reject the proposed changes. We will revert them and proceed with a proper atomic plan for remediation. The situation reveals the need for one file protocol to cover handling bugs. All right, so this is interesting. I'm not exactly sure how to do this. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to paste. So we're going to reject all. Then we're going to paste. Well, the problem with rejecting all is I think it did some work before. Okay, here it is. Yeah, it's fine actually. So we made those changes. And then I told it about the issues. And then it told me to reject the changes. Now I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to okay. So it's going to the wrong one. There we go. There. There we go. So I rejected those changes and then we updated some protocol. And now most likely Cascade is going to update the sprint with this new set of tasks. And then we're going to work through these tasks one by one. And I'm going to shut off my alarm because we're not quite finished this process. And I have a little doggy dog that's going to want to react to an alarm. There we go. Almost. There we go. Come on. Fortunately, my phone is also on the fritz. All of my electronics are on the fritz. There we go. All right, let's see what we got going here. Understood. I will adhere to the protocol of atomic remediation, the process with the bug fix sprint plan, starting with task C1. My previous non-atomic changes have been disregarded. First, I will read the contents of this. I understand. I will now execute this. Okay, so it seems like it's working. All right, so let's just recap. So I was considering creating a whole new set of calibration documents in my last video. And then rather than because at the end of the day, there was only going to be 4 real changes to those calibration documents. And the issue that the thing is that I figured that probably, I don't know, I was just assuming that when, particularly for free 3 and free 4, when I asked it about these changes that it would make to the calibration document, my assumption was that they would update their protocol with those new changes. after, because I approved those changes. So obviously then the calibration documents have been updated according to those methodologies. The one concern that I had was with Windsurf, and whether or not Windsurf saved the calibration documents, or if it just processed them as a concept of like, would you like to comment on them, and whether or not it has access to the content in those documents. I mean, at the time, I remember when it read the calibration documents, it said, oh, okay, this is really interesting. I'm going to remember some of this stuff. But then when you click the memory, it doesn't necessarily remember any of that stuff. And then later on, I asked it, like, do you specifically need to be remembering this stuff? And then it's like, yeah, you need to tell me to remember this stuff. So I don't know. And then rather than telling it to remember that stuff, I wanted it to remember the updated calibrated documents. But instead of updating the calibrated documents, then we started working on this thing right here. So, I got all these issues. So probably what we're going to do is we're going to finish this task. And then once we update once we finish updating this task list, then I'm going to go back into the old calibration documents, and I'm going to talk to it, and I'm going to say, hey, look, these were some of the recommendations that you had from before. Down here, see my analysis and commentary. So this was your previous analysis and commentary. Would you change your analysis and commentary based on what the work we've done together? And then it's going to give us a new analysis and commentary. And then I'm going to go to the new architect, and I'm going to say, okay, so based on this analysis and commentary from Windsurf, what do you think we should do with the? And then we'll run the protocol to, what's it called? We'll run the prepare handoff. But then on the other hand, I'm not really sure we need to do the handoff right away. I don't think that we've come close to the 1 million tokens yet. So since we haven't come close to the 1 million tokens, then like, do we really need to do the handoff procedure just to update the documents? Anyways, since we're at the beginning of the process, it's like a lot of these decisions are kind of like so important. But on the other hand, this is the name of the game right now in AI. It's like, how well are you able to calibrate AI instances, and then how well are you able to get those instances to do work for you inside of AI empowered IDEs? I don't know why it's doing that in here. Okay, so now one thing we might want to do is, when's the last time that it had a chat with the other architect here? All right, now we're just going to go from the top all the way to the bottom. This process was complete and unqualified success. The new architect did not miss anything. So why formally adopted better process, generally superior would. Okay, so it's maybe it's losing its mind. I don't know what's going on. So this is where you need a real software engineer, because at this point I've got all these different AI tools. Everybody's got a problem with what's going on. Nobody knows the right answer. And then when I click this button, it's like, this is definitely not the task list page HTML. All right, so okay, so this is actually a problem that I had in the past. And what I can do is I can reject the changes. And then rather than you making it like some new rebuild of the task list page, because I don't think that you have the actual HTML file, the original file. I don't think you understand what is happening inside of the IDE. And so I'm really confused about why you've decided to write the file and now you want me to rewrite the file. So I just think that this is absolutely crazy advice. So I think that you should rethink about the protocols that we have gone through. And then what I can do is I can delete the work that's been done by Cascade, and then you can ask it to give you the plan for what it plans to do before it actually does the plan. You can give it input for what it might want to think about when it's working through the plan. But at the end of the day, we have to have Cascade do the work because it has the context of all the files, and you do not have all the context for the files. Okay, now I'm a little bit confused because I don't know what happened. Okay. All right, so I think I need to provide it with just a little bit more context than I had previously wanted. Okay, so I'm going to provide you with the full context of what happened after the server was started. So basically, what happened after the server started was that I could add new tasks, but I couldn't delete the tasks. The delete button wasn't working. I could also edit the tasks, and then there was some issue where the pop up that appeared, not the pop up, but the menu. When I click the button with three dots on it, it has a drop down menu that has edit and delete in it. When I click that button, it doesn't matter if the screen is narrow or if it's wide. It's always running into some issue where uh, some windows that are below it in the user interface, they're appearing in front of the options, and so I can't actually see the word delete because it's hidden behind some of the UI elements on the page. So I took some screenshots and then I also clicked some buttons to show the element because Cascade has the ability to create a new window, and that window has a button for sending an element to the chat box of Cascade. So it has a very good context of exactly which element that I'm talking about, and also I sent some screen images. So, anyways, I'm going to give you the full context of what the work that has been done, and then you can also see what's been deleted, what was rolled back based on the text that I paste right here. All right, so we got about an hour into this, and I don't know, are we going to be able to finish it today? I would like to be able to finish this today. I think we got 2 more steps. So let's see how easily we can get through the next 2 steps. Let's plan on going for about 10 to 12 minutes maximum. And if we can't get through these steps, then we can always save it for tomorrow, depending on what the plan is today. There may be more time today to make another video. Thing is that, like, my work as a coach, there's been times where I was teaching between 5 and 6 hours a day, every day, day after day after day after day. There's 2 issues right now that are happening in the world. One issue is we are heading into recession in the United States, and that recession is going to be also hitting the rest of the world. So over the next couple of years, we're going to be in a solid recession period, and which means that it's likely that it's going to be more difficult. It's possibly more difficult to find coaching clients. I mean, that sounds counterproductive, because actually these are periods where I should have more coaching clients, because these are times when people need to be really thinking about what they're doing in their businesses, using thinking tools and thinking methodologies. Now, the thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to provide software, because sometimes people, they don't necessarily want to pay a coach, and they might feel like they are what is going on? I don't know. They might not enjoy. I don't know. Maybe it's my problem as a coach, but sometimes it can be a problem. Wow. Anyway, so I'm experiencing less teaching opportunities right now, and the second prevailing tide is sometimes when I noticed it at the beginning of the start of the special military campaign of Russia into Ukraine, that suddenly people, they stopped taking lessons. This can happen because people are feeling uncertainty. Maybe they don't feel like communicating as much. Maybe they're watching the news more. Maybe they're worried about things that are happening at work. So this happens quite a bit. So right now we're having both of these tailwinds that are hitting each other, which means I have more time. The good thing about having more time is that I get to work on my project. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually experienced when Windsurf does something like this, where it just spits out all this text. That is a lot of text. Now, the benefit is that, like, I've done my research. I did like 5 years of research in order to create this piece of software. And the primary research that I did is over. I've completed the primary research, meaning Meaning that I have the design. So that was the whole purpose of coaching. Actually, was to go through the experience of being a coach, and by having the experience of being a coach, I've been able to develop the design for the software. This is a thing that I've been working on for the past 10 years. And now that I have the design, and then also created the free version of the design, now it's just learning how to use AI tools and software development tools. So the fact that I don't have a lot of coaching, I don't have 5 to 6 hours a day. Now, like yesterday, I had 4 hours. Today, I have 3 hours. So it's not like it's zero. It's like I still have a significant amount of work to do. Yeah, like this is just ridiculous. I have reviewed the architect's comments. I've accepted the assessment. The execution log clearly shows a critical failure where I entered a loop, could not correctly process the file state, subsequently made an erroneous claim that the task was complete. This is unacceptable. I'll proceed with the utmost caution. The state is untrustworthy, and my previous report is retracted. In accordance with the protocol of intent and review, I have prepared a recovery plan to safely recover from the failed implementation, but if verification read only would be used to read the task list. This is a non-descriptive read only action to get div and look the file's current trustworthy state. Okay. It's actually doing the work. Okay, so this is interesting. So I'm just going to give this context, all this context, to the architect. So we haven't made the decision to roll back yet, but we could roll back. I think we can still roll back. Now, maybe it looks like we've done a lot of work. We actually haven't done a lot of work. It's not that much different from the code that originally came from GitHub. Jeez, it's still losing its mind. So if we fail again, it's fine. All right, so we're going to roll back to the time just after I gave you screenshots and reverting to here. How far can I revert back? See, I can revert back here. I'm going to revert back to here. Based on what you now know and the problems you've encountered, prepare a plan and explain exactly what you will do this time in order to succeed. Edit the above text that I've pasted so that I can roll back to that prompt and edit it in a way that will enable us to move forward. All right, so they're going to try this out. This is the first time that I've tried this, so I don't know what's going to happen exactly. I didn't see, this is the issue about revert back. I didn't know I had the ability to revert back. I think maybe they just added that feature. I couldn't revert back yesterday. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back to this one, if we can find it. I'm looking for some screenshots. What's going on? How far back was it? That looks like it could be. Sheets, I don't know where we are. Let's just go back here. There's all this garble. Okay, it should be close to here. No, I want to roll back to here. Here is a plan. Also, there are some screenshots. Previously, I made comments about these screenshots and we did some work. We're now reverting back to this time. Review your plan below and comment on this plan. Do not write anything. Do not change the code. Just comment on what you think about the plan. It's based on the screen. I think it should be based on the screenshots where the delete button wasn't working and the drop-down menu was appearing under the other elements on the screen. What do you think? Okay, so let's see what happens. We've gotten past our 12-minute mark. It's now been 20 minutes. I think we reverted. I hope that it's the... Okay, this is an excellent plan. It formalizes and reinforces the principles of a successful automatic. Okay, now what we're going to do is okay, so I made a significant roll back of the code, and here is the current work. You can see the text from before and where we are now. You should figure out how those two sections logically fit together, and the sections which have been deleted, the code base is changed to the earlier version. Okay. Now, don't tell me you're going to try to print this stupid button again. No, one thing I want to try is just... Yeah, still doing. It's not completely dead. It's weird. All right. Okay, let's see what happens with this. But we're going to have to leave you on a cliffhanger because this is just... Anyways, I got to go. It's time to go outside, take the outside. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.